Good morning, everyone. We're Project MIToc, and we have developed a prototype for a mobile application of opioid addiction support. Our team includes Dustin and Didier, two software engineers, and they're currently doing Masters of Engineering in the Computer Engineering Department. And my name is Rod. I'm an MD, and I'm doing a Master's in Translational Health Research with a specific focus in behavioral change theory in opioid addiction. So the motivation of our app really comes from the stark increase in opioid addiction over the last 10 or 20 years in North America. And opioids are essentially a very powerful pain medications that are also very addictive. However, we do have good treatments for them, also other medications that substitute it, but 75 to 80% of dependent users are not in treatment. And when we look at the literature, the reasons that patients provide are that there's limited access to counseling. So counseling that supports the substitution therapies are not very limited, not really accessible in across the country. And also there's a lot of stigma to accessing these treatments. There's also a lot of patient ambivalence to change, so they're not sure they want to change their behaviors. So not only are patients not sure they want to change, they're also not motivated to actually access these therapies, and the therapies are not accessible. So we want to bridge this gap by providing a pocket counselor that provides a conversational agent that is able to talk to the patient and explore their ambivalence and motivations towards change. We also are able to provide notifications, basically reminders, patient motivations that we extract from the conversation. And all this data is able to be shown to the physician through a web portal. So essentially, we see this app being in the healthcare domain in conjunction with practitioners. So we'll have a demo to show how this will work. Dustin is the family doctor, and Didier is the patient.
Hi, my name is Dustin, I'm a doctor, and I have a patient named Didier who is worried about his drug use. He never really wants to talk about it to me, so I'm going to recommend him to use the MIToc app instead. To use it, I need to log into the MIToc portal, which only doctors can access, and create a profile for him. Here you can see that a profile has already been created for him. And a unique identifier has also been created so that Didier can log into the app.
So hi, I'm Didier. I'm a drug addict, and I've been given this unique ID by my doctor to use the app. So I'm just going to try it out. And so now, start a conversation.
Hi Didier, can I talk to you about your recent opioid use today?
I can't really talk right now. I'm on my way back home.
That's all right. Let me know when you want to chat about this.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I don't want to take any more of your time. Thank you for talking.
Okay, so now I'm back home. I'm in a safe place. I can actually talk about those things. So I can start and have a full conversation with the app.
Hi Didier, can I talk to you about your recent opioid use today?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. Have you used it in the past week?
Yes, I have.
How does that make you feel?
I'm not very proud of myself.
I can hear you're not happy about using recently. In general, how do you feel about your drug use?
I'm not very proud that I have to use drugs to get over the pain and get on with my life, but I don't know how to do otherwise.
Okay, it sounds to me that you would want to make a change. Is that right?
Yes, I suppose so.
So on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the most important, how important is it for you to quit using opioids?
I suppose it's pretty important.
So here we're measuring the
Okay,
ambivalence
sounds
as
like
well.
you're quite motivated to change. On a similar scale, how confident are you that you will be able to stop using?
Obviously, opioids are really addictive, so I'm not sure I can do it, so I'll just give it a 6.
That's great. Help me understand what are the main reasons for you to make this change.
I think my family would be really happy with me.
Okay, I don't want to take any more of your time. Thank you for talking.
So a few days later, I want to check on the progress of Didier. So I can see here that he has used the app a few times, and here are the most recent results. So I can see that he's quite unhappy about using drugs, and he's very motivated to change, and his confidence about changing has dropped a little bit lately. And I can also see the reasons why he wants to change.
And now it's 2 days later, and I sort of forgot what I said to the app, but I get a notification saying, hey Didier, that's why you wanted to change. I think my family would be really happy with me. So it's kind of a nice reminder of the reason why I want to change and why I should change.
And that concludes our demo. So for a block diagram, as the user replies to questions using voice, the voice is translated into text in the speech recognition module. That text is fed into the natural language processing module, where emotions and keywords are going to be extracted. And based on those keywords and emotions, we're going to ask different questions to the user to have them reflect on their motivations. After each session, we are going to send all that information back to the portal.
So in terms of the key learnings, really quickly, human conversation is obviously really complex. So there are a lot of things we could have done, and we had to limit the scope. We had to, for instance, we wanted to react to the keyword suicide and give like a hotline number automatically or something. But we really had to have a lot of interdisciplinary talks to decide what was really important, what was the core focus of our app. And so there were obviously a lot of things that we had to compromise on.
So in terms of the future direction, you've seen that we've made a basic conversation. In order to make this more complex and to actually take it to usability testing, even before taking it to patients, we have to make the conversation more deep in the decision tree. And we'll be doing this by adding more conversational modules, by asking patients about their demographics, by asking them more risk assessment type questions, and then connecting this ultimately to a lot of data with the change talk that's generated in the conversation and also outcomes. Then we can actually provide physicians with even more quality information that they can base their treatments and therapies around. And also we want to make the notifications that we create a bit more complex, more intelligent. So maybe based on GPS triggers or also settings that the patient can choose themselves, like frequency and things like that. So thank you very much for listening. We're happy to answer any questions you have.
Yeah, it's great. It keeps getting more sophisticated. I'm curious to know, what's the process of creating more levels of conversation? Like, what's the technical input that you're providing to create those layers?
We have a JSON file which gives the question text, the question type, so a yes/no question, a sentiment question, a change talk question, all those kind of questions. And we have in that under those informations, we have which question it should branch to, if yes or if no, or if change is detected, if change is not detected. And that way we can branch to other questions in that file. So it just gets imported from a file and the conversation.
So I understand that, but presumably there's some state of the user, state of the patient that you're building. How does, there is?
Yeah, there is.
And so how does that specification fit into the state computation? Or does it?
It's just the way that the conversation is stirred. So if the user, for instance, mentions change talk, so something like I need to change, or like I need to do something, then we'll branch into questions like, okay, it seems like you want to change. Like what do you think? Why do you want to change? And who would be happy with you to change?
Okay,
Which is basically in the conversation.
It's literally this place in the tree, the conversation tree that tells you something about user. There's no kind of cumulative, this is how we think this person's doing, computation going on.
Not currently. That would be an interesting step, but not currently.
We added like some sort of history, but we're not using that history right now. Maybe in the future.
Yeah, lots of places do it. Yeah, it's great.
Thank you.
Comments, questions? Heather?
How common is it for someone who's using drugs to admit and seek help from their doctor?
So the question is about how common it is for someone to admit that they're opioid dependent and they are seeking help. So I think a lot of patients may exhibit information around it. So if they're already on opioid medications for chronic pain, things like aberrant behavior, like increasing dosages when their pain is already controlled, is something that's indicative, and then the physician can kind of stir a conversation around it. Ultimately, I think real seeking out treatment comes with deeper levels of, or more complex disease processes. So if they're really far in the process, then they'll seek out the treatment. Yeah. So that's what we're trying to bridge here, that there's an easy to access venue or point so they can easily start to think about their addiction.
So there's another answer, which is I hear people are much more willing to talk to computers than people on this subject.
Yeah, we think that that's one of the value propositions of our app is that, like, it's engaging in that you're talking to the app, but at the same time, it's not judgmental in that you're talking to an app. It's not a human being judging you. So that's where we want to play.
Yeah, it's much less confrontational, I think.
And you can use it anytime. Like if at midnight you're feeling you have to use it, you can just use it.
Right.
Do you think there'll be any worry for a new user in thinking that you might be sending what they're saying back to the doctor?
Yeah, so the question is around whether the patient will be afraid that this data will go somewhere. But I think part of a lot of deployment of mental health counseling and therapies is around providing patient information about the confidentiality of that. So I think it would be based on the doctor who's prescribing or suggesting this tool to really make that clear.
This is more of a comment than a question, but so you're currently taking a lot of information from what the person is saying, but there's also information to be had from how they're saying it. So research has shown that there are reliable biomarkers from the way that a person speaks, indicating their level of depression. And that's, I know there's some level of link between that and addiction, so that could be something that you guys can.
Yeah, thank you for that comment. We'll definitely look into
We were
it.
going to mention that in our report actually. This
Yeah.
future work.
Exactly, that'll go in our report. Yeah.
To that point, there is a startup company called Winterlight Labs
Yeah.
that is trying to do exactly that in doing audio analysis of not just text but sound. That's what Danny's talking about.
Oh, I see, okay. It's good to know. We'll contact them. We've also contacted another startup that's working with natural language processing in dementia. So I feel like there's a lot of room in this kind of sphere. Another question?
Okay, so I think you did a great job introducing it in terms of giving more motivation for the app. And I know we have limited time, but maybe if you could just explain the concept of ambivalence a little bit more when you bring it up, because it's not exactly synonymous with unsure. So if you're going to use the word, then maybe just to explain it a little bit more, that there's a kind of inner conflict that is wrong with it.
Sure, yeah. I think, thank you for that. Yeah, we'll do that. Thanks, Sam.
Great, well done.
Great, thank you.